There's a specific kind of feeling that only certain games can create. Not scary, not sad, just quiet. You're walking through a vast, stunning world with nothing but the wind, the music, and your own thoughts. No hand-holding, no waypoints screaming at you, no NPC chatter filling every silence. Just you, completely alone, in a world so beautiful it almost hurts to look at. It sounds strange to call loneliness a selling point, but in the right game, that solitude hits different. It makes every discovery feel personal, every vista feel earned, every moment of silence feel like the game is speaking directly to you. Today, we found 20 games that turn loneliness into pure art and make exploration feel like the most beautiful, peaceful experience in all of gaming. Let's get into it. Most games give you a gun and tell you to fight. Hideo Kojima gave you a backpack and told you to walk. In Death Stranding, America is gone, not destroyed, disconnected. People live in bunkers miles apart, and someone has to carry things between them. That someone is you. There are no roads at first, no paths. You make them, slowly, one careful step at a time, across mountains and rivers and valleys that will wreck your cargo if you're not paying attention. And the strangest thing happens somewhere in those long walks. You start to love it. The silence, the rain, the way your character grunts climbing a steep hill. Loneliness becomes the texture of the entire world, and crossing it on foot stops feeling like a chore and starts feeling like something close to meditation. There's a solar system. It has 6 planets, a handful of moons, and it's going to explode in 22 minutes. And then it starts again. Outer Wilds is a mystery game where the mystery is the universe itself and your only tool is curiosity. You fly a rattling tin can spaceship from world to world, finding notes left by people who came before you, reading the last thoughts of a civilization that figured something out right before the end. Nobody is coming to help, no mission control, no co-pilot, just you. A handful of planets, and the sound of your campfire crackling before you launch. This is one of those games where you'll sit still in space for a full minute just to watch a planet eat its own moon, and it will feel worth it every time. Picture this. Your ship just crashed into an alien ocean. You're the only survivor. There's no land in any direction, and the water below you goes down for kilometers into a dark you can't fully see. That's the opening of Subnautica, and it doesn't get less lonely from there. It just gets more beautiful. This game understands something real about exploration. The further you go, the less you belong there. Shallow coral reefs give way to deep kelp forests, which give way to thermal vents, and finally to something so dark and enormous it has its own weather. You build a base, you give it lights, and somehow, staring out a tiny porthole into the black at the bottom of the world, you've never felt more alone or more at peace. You never learn your character's name in Hollow Knight. You never speak. No one in the underground kingdom of Hallownest truly speaks to you either. They speak at you, around you, through you. You're a small thing in a dead place, and the game never once lets you forget it. Every corner of this world used to be something, a palace, a city, a teacher school, and now it's yours to walk through alone, reading what little is left. The art direction does something cruel in the best way. It's stunning. Soft light through crystal caves, bioluminescent fungi, architecture so grand it makes you feel tiny by design. Hollow Knight is the rare game that makes loneliness feel like archaeology, like you're the last person who cared enough to show up. There's a moment that happened to almost everyone who played this game. You climb a mountain alone. No waypoint, no timer, no reason except you could see the top from where you were standing. And then you get there, and it's just wind, and distance, and a world that doesn't care that you made it. Breath of the Wild gave players a Hyrule that had already lost. The temples are broken, the kingdom is silent, the villages are scattered. You're not saving the world in some triumphant rush. You're wandering through what's left of it, piecing together a history from ruins and journal entries. It's a game about a hero, yes, but more than that, it's a game about what it feels like to arrive somewhere too late. Every other open-world game brags about how alive its world feels. Nier Automata went the opposite direction, and it hit harder than almost anything else that year. You're an android on a dead Earth. No humans, no cities with people in them, just ruins that used to mean something, machines that figured out philosophy before they figured out peace, and a soundtrack that sounds like someone grieving in a language that doesn't exist yet. The emptiness here isn't lazy design, it's the whole point. You walk through an overgrown amusement park, past the flooded city, through a desert that used to be a battlefield, and the world keeps asking you the same quiet question. What does it mean to be alive when everything alive is already gone? Here's a question. What does it feel like to stand on a planet that no human being has ever seen before? Not in a story, not in a cutscene. Actually you, alone, first footprints on an alien world. That's No Man's Sky. 18 quintillion planets, and almost none of them will ever be visited by anyone. You land somewhere, you look around, and it hits you. This is yours. No quest marker telling you what to feel, no NPC handing you context, just a sky that's the wrong color and silence so thick you can almost hear your own breathing through the helmet. 9 years of free updates later, this game still does something no other game does. It makes the universe feel genuinely, terrifyingly empty. Planet of Lana looks like a painting someone accidentally left running. Every single frame of this game could be printed and framed. Layered backgrounds, hand-painted jungles, caves lit by things that shouldn't glow, but do. The story is simple. A girl, her small companion creature, a sister taken by machines, a world that used to be alive and is now half silent. It doesn't use a single word of any language you'd recognize. It tells everything through movement, sound, and the way Lana and her companion look at each other when something goes wrong. What makes this one land differently from other cinematic platformers is the sense of scale. You're always tiny, always moving through something enormous that was here long before you and will be here long after. The loneliness isn't frightening. It just is, like weather. Stray starts with something that almost doesn't seem fair. A cat, a family of cats, a forest, contentment. And then it breaks that in about 90 seconds flat and drops you into one of the most quietly devastating premises in recent memory. You're a stray cat in a city that humans built and then left behind. The robots who live there have never seen a real animal. They have paintings of a sky they've never been under. They have bars where they drink things and cafes where they talk, and they're waiting for a surface world they don't know is already gone. You wander through that world as the only breathing thing in it. And the strange part is, the robots aren't sad exactly. They just don't know what they're missing. And somehow, that's worse. Sable doesn't explain itself to you. It doesn't mark your map with the good stuff, doesn't hold your hand across the desert, doesn't have a timer counting down anything. It just opens. A vast, flat, beautiful world that you glide across on a hoverbike, looking for whatever you feel like looking for. The premise is a rite of passage. Your character has come of age and must go out into the world to figure out who they are, which means you're playing an exploration game about the feeling of exploration itself. Ancient ruins nobody has touched in centuries, nomad camps where people live and move on, a desert that changes color in the evening in a way that makes you stop gliding just to watch. Sable is one of the few games that genuinely gives you nothing to do and makes you grateful for it. The electricity went out, not in your town,
everywhere. A geomagnetic disaster knocked out power across the northern hemisphere. Planes fell out of the sky, and now you're somewhere in the Canadian wilderness in winter with a handful of supplies and no way to call for help. The Long Dark is a survival game, yes, but survival here isn't about fighting. It's about the cold, the silence, and the brutal beauty of a world that has simply stopped caring whether you make it. The landscape is stunning, in the way that things are stunning when they're also trying to kill you. Frozen lakes that creak under your boots, blizzards that roll in with no warning, wolves you hear before you see them. It's lonely in a way that feels ancient, the kind of lonely that existed long before cities did.
If the first game asked what it means to connect a broken world, the sequel asks what it costs. Death Stranding 2 takes Sam to Australia, and if anything, the loneliness here hits harder than before. The landscapes are bigger, stranger, more alien. There are moments where you'll stand on a ridge with your cargo and look out at a horizon that seems to go forever, and the only sound is wind and something faint that might be music or might be the world breathing. The game released last year to people debating Kojima's storytelling, and fair enough, it's a lot. But those debates miss what this series does better than almost anything else. It makes walking feel like the whole point. Just you, a terrible road, and something beautiful in every direction you didn't ask to feel.
On the surface, Kena looks like a Pixar film. The colors are warm, the little rock creatures are impossibly cute, and the forest is lush and full of life. But here's what that surface is hiding. This is a game about places where people died and never left. Kena is a spirit guide. Her whole job is walking into grief and helping it move on. Every area she enters used to belong to someone, a hunter, a farmer, a child who just wanted to protect his family, and the entire landscape has warped around their loss. The beauty and the ache in this game are the same thing. You're always exploring somewhere that's gorgeous because someone loved it, and abandoned because that same person is gone. 10 minutes into Ori and the Will of the Wisps, something happens. And if you've played it, you know exactly what I mean. And the game earns the right to absolutely destroy you for the next 8 hours. This is a platformer that moves like water and looks like a dream. But what nobody warns you about is how lonely it gets. Ori is small. The world is enormous, and almost everything in it is either broken or dying. You pass through places that were once full of life, a library, a marketplace, a forest that's losing light, and there's nobody left to tell you what happened. The game doesn't explain. It just shows you, one gorgeous crumbling vista at a time. And somehow that silence communicates more grief than 100 cutscenes ever could. Forget the combat for a second. Forget the story, the upgrades, the side quests. What Ghost of Tsushima actually is, underneath all of that, is a hiking simulator dressed up as a samurai game. You follow the wind to places no quest marker pointed you toward. A cliffside shrine, a field full of fireflies, a hot spring where your character just sits in silence, and you realize you've been playing for 3 hours and haven't spoken to a single person. The island of Tsushima is occupied. It's broken. Most of the people are hiding or gone. And riding through its empty roads at golden hour, the grass moving the same direction you're heading, it feels less like a game and more like a painting that decided it had somewhere to go.